Imagine a cold winter's night, the air thick with the scent of pine and snow, the ground beneath you creaking with each step you take. You're in the wilderness, alone, but you're not really alone. There's something in the shadows, something waiting, and it's hungry, very hungry. Tonight we'll dig into one of the most chilling legends ever told, a legend rooted in the very coldest corners of North America. This is the story of the Wendigo, a creature of insatiable hunger, an ancient curse, and a terrifying truth about the darkness lurking within us all. First, let's talk about what the Wendigo actually is. The Wendigo isn't just a creature, it's a force, an ancient spirit that exists in the dark corners of the Algonquian folklore. Known to many indigenous tribes like the Cree, Ojibwe, and Algonquin, the Wendigo embodies one thing above all: insatiable hunger. The Wendigo is said to be a gaunt and skeletal creature, almost human, yet horrifyingly alien. Its body is emaciated, skin stretched so tightly over bones it looks ready to tear apart. Its eyes glow an eerie shade, its mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth, always gaping, always hungry. It's not just a monster, it's a spiritual entity, one that hungers for flesh, and once it consumes, it can never be satisfied. But where did the Wendigo come from? The legend begins in a place of unimaginable cold in the frozen wilderness of Canada and the northern United States, where survival was a constant struggle. The Wendigo, as the stories go, was once a human being, a person who, in their desperate need to survive, resorted to cannibalism. The act of eating human flesh, the ultimate taboo, caused something horrific to occur. The person would transform, not just in body, but in mind, heart, and soul. Once that line is crossed, there's no turning back. The hunger becomes uncontrollable, driving the person to devour and destroy everyone around them. And so, the Wendigo is born, a creature cursed forever, doomed to wander, always searching for more. But what if I told you these tales weren't just stories? What if I told you that real-life encounters with the Wendigo have been reported? Horrifying incidents where the myth seemed to come to life. Let's start with the infamous case of Swift Runner in 1879. Swift Runner was a Cree man who lived in the frozen wilderness of Canada with his family. The winter was brutal, food was scarce, and soon survival became a matter of life or death. When the snowstorms hit, Swift Runner and his family became stranded. Days turned into weeks, and hunger began to gnaw at their very souls. But Swift Runner didn't try to find help, no. He did something far worse. He killed and cannibalized his entire family, including his wife, children, and even his young sons. He later claimed that he had been possessed by the Wendigo spirit, that it had driven him to the act. But when authorities found the gruesome remains, Swift Runner was arrested and confessed to the crimes. He was eventually executed, but the story of Swift Runner's cannibalism and his claim of Wendigo possession became one of the most famous accounts in history. But Swift Runner wasn't the only one to be affected by this spirit. In the 1600s, a small Mi'kmaq village in northeastern Canada was shaken by an incident so terrifying it echoed through the generations. One man, desperate in the cold, resorted to eating human flesh, and in doing so he unleashed something horrible. His hunger spiraled out of control, and he too was said to be possessed by the Wendigo spirit, ultimately attacking and killing others in the village. The villagers, terrified, turned to their elders, who declared the man to be no longer human, a Wendigo cursed by his own greed and desperation. Some stories say he was killed to stop the spirit's influence from spreading. Others believe the Wendigo curse was passed on, turning the entire village into an unwitting army of monsters. As the years passed, more reports surfaced, stories of what was called Wendigo Psychosis. One of the most unsettling cases came in 1920 in the isolated wilderness of Ontario, Canada. A man, believed to have been under the influence of the Wendigo spirit, went on a violent rampage, killing and eating his own family. When authorities arrived, they found the horrific evidence of cannibalism, but no answers. The man, gripped by madness, believed he had been taken over by the Wendigo. Though the cause could be explained by psychosis or extreme hunger, the fear of the Wendigo spirit haunted the community for years to come. But it doesn't stop there. One of the most disturbing events took place in the 1930s, near Angikuni Lake. A lone Inuit trapper stumbled upon an entire village, completely deserted. Not a single person remained. What was more disturbing, however, was that the cooking fires were still burning and food was left uneaten. Footprints led out into the wilderness, but there were no signs of struggle, no explanation. Some say the villagers were consumed by the Wendigo spirit, drawn out into the cold by the hunger it brought with it, leaving only eerie silence behind. Did the Wendigo take them all, or was it something more sinister? Is the Wendigo real? The terrifying truth is that we may never know, but the legend persists. It has traveled from the isolated forest of Canada to the deepest corners of our darkest fears. So, the next time you find yourself alone in the wilderness, hear the wind howling through the trees, or feel an unnatural chill creeping up your spine, remember this legend, and remember, in the heart of every monster, there's a human hunger that can never be sated. Stay vigilant, because the Wendigo is always waiting just beyond the trees. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and share this video with someone who dares to learn the truth about the Wendigo. Until next time, know more, be more.